Well, he's actually on the MUP, he's not allowed on the trail. But Caveman has been out here for years and years. He was on Bill's property, going from window to window while Bill was at work. Another kind neighbor, who knows Caveman also, stopped, saw him, came like, oh shit, I'm under observation, and he booked. But, so he's gonna, I wanna be safe. He's gonna come to foster shelter at night, where he's warm, dry, can wash his dreadlocks and maybe wash his clothes. Then he's going to go out in the morning and commit 1 or 2 or 3 property crimes in order to get his fix for the day, which he's going to be leaving needles for me with my hand in my cart to go pick up. And then he's going to come back to your house at night and be nice and safe and dry, take a shower, wash his clothes, so he can come back out into the triangle and start this all over again.
So let me just ask you, given that that's what you're seeing right now with this individual, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a place inside the community where people can go at night to be safe, and to be dry, and to begin to connect to services, knowing that not everyone will take up that offer, or maybe they won't take it up the first 5, 10 times it's offered to them, but there's constantly going to be on offer for them, or not have it?
Robert, how many times did you and Thomas offer Caveman services?
All those guys. This is what I'm saying, this assertion that there's some reason. Well, why don't we all just say what the truth is? Yeah. Most of these people have destroyed their lives 10, 15 years ago. They have no families, not because someone abandoned them. They've turned on all these people. Most of these people have restraining orders against them. They couldn't rent a house if they wanted to. I doubt if you can find a rent receipt out there from one of these guys for the last 10 years. And we keep talking about these shelters. So when they're in your shelter at night, they're shooting up $1,800 to $3,000 a month in heroin. Yeah. Where do they get that money? Yeah. In our neighborhood. So you're providing them a place to sleep in our neighborhood so they can come out during the day and rob us and sleep in your shelter.
Do you have a question you want to answer based on that?
Let's enjoy that. That's a fact. I don't know where you guys get this info. They've lived in my alley for 3 years. I've watched these guys. They're not going to any shelters. They sit out there and shoot heroin. They'll go into a program like you said. Oh, you can come in as many times as you want. Marty's been in rehab 13 times. Lives right here in Lents, was born here. Been in rehab, been in detox, they've probably spent millions of dollars on this guy. And he laughs. He says, yeah, whenever I want to get cleaned up, I go in there. Then he goes back out on the street and burglarizes houses and steals and right back on it. He's been in Lents for 45 years and 27 of those as a heroin addict.
See, my concern is you only talk about the homeless, and I understand it's your job because that's what you do, but when we have people like this that are saying this is what is affected by a homeless person, and we have political correctness that says we can't put crime and homelessness together because there's a huge bridge of drug addiction, which kind of puts it together. And I'm an addict, okay, I come from it. I'm in recovery for 9 years, so I get that, okay? So so I'm not coming some NIMBY from the outside, I'm coming from the inside out, that's why I outed myself. So my thing is, I don't understand, like, that's fine, it's your job. I understand you need to focus on that. But when your job puts us at risk, for me, my house is burglarized, I've already gone on my spiel, but I have a reason to be concerned. And if you're just going to keep on repeating, well, they need a place to say that, I'm like, well, wait a second, first of all, you're putting it right next to a bar. You know, that's not even for recovery. It goes against everything I've known in recovery. I don't see how it's helping.
We live in a city.
I understand that, but it's right next door to a bar.
To find a bar. This notion that you can't have homeless people next to a bar, I don't really get that.
That's a way too different opinion on that from where I come from recovery. We disagree right next door. Right? I understand, but that's fine.
Got a lot of liquor stores and a lot of
okay, and I have temptations, but my thing is but what about crime? You're not talking about what are we going to do about that? I live a block, less than a block away. So, are you gonna, so if someone comes up and shooting out my front yard, can I call you guys and you're going to be like, oh, okay, sure, we're going to be right there.
Okay, so I think it's important to understand role clarity. Don't confuse what we can provide to people who are experiencing homelessness with what needs to happen in a community that has a law enforcement system for when people are breaking the law. The gentleman you're referring to, all right, you can call him homeless, you can call him a heroin addict, but you can also call him a thief. If what you're saying is true,
Oh, it's true.
We have systems in our community to deal with people who steal. okay?
They don't.
Okay, so this is where,
Yeah, do a good story.
okay, so this is where your other livability concerns, challenges, issues, and fears, right, begin to come together in really complicated ways. But I would encourage you all just to be cognizant of the fact that someone who just happens to also be homeless, who engages persistently in criminal activity, there's another name for that person, right?
I appreciate you at least, yeah, good, saying, yeah, completely.
No, I mean,
To be honest, my perception is our issue is really with the county commissioners. And they would like to lump all of the homeless in, they want to ignore the criminal part of it and whitewash it as being, oh, it's, you know, they're homeless. They can't help it, but they don't want to open up more federal space. They don't want to prosecute property crime. And these guys aren't the problem.
Yeah, thanks to the judges for keeping the police from doing their jobs.
Part of the question that I would ask is, if the shelter weren't there, what would it do? In other words, you're putting the shelter in and you're trying to do something. If the shelter's not there, the people are still in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
They're still our
We got a
One
mouse
another is
house.
worse than trying to do something.
I think most of our fear lies in the fact that these people have to go to sign up, they have to take a bus downtown or get a ride downtown to sign up, then they have to get back over here. They're just gonna bus people from downtown who are able to sign up out here. And Shorty and Caveman and all of these people out here, God forbid, even if they should want to go, aren't gonna go because they don't have the means to get downtown to do it. We don't see, and I really fear there's gonna be no impact at all in the Bermuda Triangle and on the Springwater and the MUP in my immediate neighborhood. This is not gonna take one of them off the street. It's not going to lessen the impact. It's not going to allow NRT to come out. And they, once every 3 or 4 months, instead of, I'm praying to see them every other day.
But they're not taking single in, so.
Well, they're not taking the same in, so it's not gonna impact us. And could possibly get worse.
Do you have any women in your area?
Well, I did have one living in the bush across the street from me, but, oh, she's not gonna be living there anymore because I'm having the bush taken
What
out.
I'll do is I'll make cards up and we can pass them out to the single women as
Okay,
couples.
all right, we'll go to the MUP and see if we can find any single women. No, I fixed that, I just had the bush taken out, then they don't have a place to live. I know, I'm heartless, I am heartless.
So I asked George, does he want to toss it to me, because, and as
I said yes.
I'm sitting here listening to you guys, I'm just gonna kind of take a risk. And I didn't necessarily come prepared for this, but I am listening to your comments and your fears and your feelings, and I just think it's important to at least put out there the complexities of the problems that people face. I'm a person in long-term recovery, 22 years. Heroin, meth, addiction, and IV, and depression, severe depression. I ended up on the street, it's a long story, childhood trauma, whatever. I ended up on the street for about 10 years. And I appreciate you pointing out the percentage of women on the streets, and women in particular do experience a different type of safety issue than men do. So I'm feeling a little bit for that woman that's living in your bush, not because I think it's right for her to be living in your bush, and I understand why you don't want her there.
I possibly wouldn't be quite so upset if one of the obviously stolen items that she had with her
I hear
and
you.
a pile of needles.
Yeah, I hear you.
So she's
so
an addict who's, oh, by the way, also experienced homelessness. She's not just a homeless lady trying to get by living under a bush.
And so what we know today about addiction is that it's a disease, it's a disorder. And people use drugs or alcohol for a variety of different reasons. I used so that I would not feel. And to not feel anything, it led me to stealing. because I needed to fuel my addiction. It led me to doing things that I never thought I was, a good girl growing up, right? I'm a good girl now. But I did have that period of time where I was desperate. And that desperation led me to a place that nobody should have to go. And so I'm telling you this all not to get you sympathetic or whatever, but just to help highlight that it's complex. It's not just about being a criminal. I was a thief, I was an addict, I was homeless, I went to jail, I did all those things, right? And today I oversee a really large portfolio of substance use disorder programs because there was a shelter bed at the right time for me that then got me into a treatment bed, which then got me into a residential program, which then got me into supportive transitional housing, which then got me on my way, okay? So I'm not, none of you are wrong. I'm not trying to dissuade you from your feelings. Your feelings are absolutely real and your fears are real and founded in whatever. I just want to highlight that it's complicated and there isn't one answer. And truthfully, having a shelter for someone to go to when they need to go to a shelter is better than not having one. Because you never know when that moment is that you happen to meet that volunteer that hands you the suit that says, how are you doing today? And that's the first time in years anybody's ever said that to you. And they meant it, and it made you wonder, how am I doing today? And that just starts a process, right? So I'm hearing all of you and sort of taking it all in, and I just am struck again, now that I'm on the other side, a homeowner, just in the nick of time before the prices went up. And I have homeless people in my neighborhood as well, and I'm curious about them. I'm like, I wonder what their experience is. I wonder what led them to get to that place. And I talk to them, and I try to reach out, and yeah, a lot of them are not interested in hearing about me. My office is downtown on Burnside and Broadway, and I step over people regularly getting into the office who are passed out or have urinated or defecated on themselves or whatever, and it's sad, and it's terrible to have that happen in your yards. And again, I'm not advocating for that or advocating for you to be whatever empathetic. I'm just saying it's complicated. It's complicated.
What I don't understand is, and I know this is complicated as well. Let's just take Wapato for instance. Why can't they have an insight to do something like a mental health facility that we don't have? I mean, a huge mental health facility, and people who want some help, or maybe they're dragged here by family or whatever, do some sort of, because mental health is such a huge part of the drug addiction. I think it's blended with everything. And I don't, Oregon in general, all the West Coast, there's no mental health facilities that are just let people walk in.
Because it's against the law to force somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Because
It's
they
just a
can't make a decision, they're entitled to make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated, right? I work with people all the time on an outreach team. So in my little portfolio, large portfolio of substance use disorder programs, we try to have a diversity of recovery options, something a little bit for everybody. So I have Hooper Detox. Have you guys heard of Hooper? I have the outpatient services at Eastside Concern on 122nd. I have downtown outpatient recovery center. I have community engagement program, which is a high-touch clinical program or outreach where literally people are mental health challenged, substance use, physical health, and homeless. And the idea is get them in and get them services. And that is a case manager literally going out into the field on a daily basis, or when we get them in housing, knocking on door on a daily basis to make sure they took their medication, to make sure they're okay, to make sure they know they have a person out there that's rooting for them or there for them if they need them, right? So really high intensity. We have Letty Owens, which is a residential women and children program for pregnant or parenting moms that are trying to get into recovery and succeeding. And we have a sobering center for people who are just inebriated on the street, mostly alcohol, 98% alcohol, who our officers are kind enough to bring to us instead of taking to jail because jail doesn't really produce any results. And then they have a charge over their head. And then we have the LEAD program, which is our newest program. Again, law enforcement assisted diversion, where we're actually partnering with law enforcement. And I've learned so much about Portland Police Bureau's Central Precinct. I'm not as familiar with the East County officers, but there's truly a community policing effort out there where people, officers actually know, it's amazing. They know everything about the population that is in their area, their catchment area. And so, and I don't know you, but I'm guessing that you know a lot about the people in yours as well. You know where they came from, what their family story is, you know, what they need, what you have those relationships with the people you see on a regular basis, which makes it easy for us to partner, right? Because then we can say, oh, great, you know this person would be a great candidate for this program. Let's partner together to get them to services. The LEAD program is a harm reduction, again, high-touch service brokerage program where individuals, instead of going to jail when they're in the process of being arrested for possession of controlled substance, which, by the way, it has been found not to work to throw someone in jail for 2 days for possession of controlled substance charge, to get out again, have a charge over their head, not be able to.
It costs us money.
It costs you money, exactly. So LEAD is a really cost-effective way. Case manager goes out and meets people where they're at. It's a self-directed plan.